So today we'll be discussing the lecture 4, which will be the coverage of our final term for plane trigonometry. So lecture 4 is divided into two parts, but I already uploaded everything. So all the examples are already uploaded. But the lecture will be divided into two. So the first part is the right triangle trigonometry, where we are going to discuss how to solve for triangles. So I'll explain to you later what we mean by solving a triangle. And then the second part of lecture 4, which will be the last topic for this course, is the application of of this topic. And the application includes the concept of the angles of depression and angles of elevation. So we'll be discussing that on the next recording. So for now, let me first introduce to you what we mean by the right triangle trigonometry, or what we mean when we say that we have to solve for a triangle. So note, I'll skip the introduction so you can read it na lang. Okay, so let us first review the parts of a right triangle. So I know that you still remember what a right triangle look like. So this is an example of a right triangle. The longest side is always called the hypotenuse. And if this is your angle, then the one opposite the angle is, of course, the opposite side, and the one adjacent to it is called the adjacent side. So we should usually remember them by remembering the first letter. So we have H, A, and then O. If you can still remember the formula before, like for example, the SOHCAHTOA for sine, cosine, and tangent. So let us try to recall. Let's recall that. So we have SOHCAHTOA, and well, that means if you have an angle theta, so we have sine theta is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Okay, and then if you have cosine, then you have h, so that means you have the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. That's the formula for cosine. And tangent is O over A, so that's opposite side over the adjacent side. So these are the three things, or the three formulas that you have to remember, because the other three are just the reciprocal of these three. So the cosecant function is just hypotenuse over opposite. The second function is hypotenuse over adjacent, and the cotangent function is adjacent over the opposite side. So it's enough to remember the first three. And for this topic, we'll be using mostly the two, sine and cosine. So just always remember these two, because we'll be using this for the remaining part of the discussion. Okay. Alright, so let's start na. SN dito pala. Okay. So, what do we mean when we say that we have to solve for the triangle? So when we say we want to solve for a triangle, we mean we want to know the measures of all the sides and all the angles of the triangle. So we will be given some known angles and some known sides, but it's not complete, and our job is to complete all the parts. Okay, so let us try to write. So if we know that in every triangle we have three angles. So let's name the angles angle A, angle B, and angle C. And of course, as explained before, it's already given that if it is a right triangle, then the angle C is always the 90-degree angle. Okay, so we already have one sure answer. So this is always C. Okay, so since may B na dito, you can just, okay, B na lang siya. And then A. Okay. Alright, so we have A, B, C, and we already have one answer already, which is C is equal to 90 because this is always 90. Okay, so aside from the angles, we also have, of course, the sides. So we have the side A, side B, and side C. Okay, so of course the first step, so I'll write the steps here. I'm sure nabasa niyo na tong lecture na to, pero this one that I'm discussing, medyo shortcut siya, pero it still depends on you kung whichever you prefer. Kung ano yung mas madali for you na approach, it's fine. Okay? Pero parehas lang siya. As in, super parehas lang. I will just explain it quickly, yung mas madaling maintindihan. Okay? So, the first step is, of course, to write the given values and identify the unknowns. So, ito na ngayon, kailangan natin munang ilista ano ba yung mga kailangan natin kunin. So, we need to get the measures of the three angles. We also need to get the measures of the three sides. Okay? And then the next is you have to write the given values. So, i-identify natin ano ba yung mga meron ng given. So, we have 60 degrees sa A. So, pwede na rin natin isulat 60. Okay? And then B is missing, so we don't have B here. And then here, we have missing tong side na to, and then missing din to. Let's just change the labeling para hindi siya confusing. Let's just erase this. So, kapag katapat ng B, of course, small letter B to. Sorry, I'll just change the color. Pag side, katapat ng B, then small b. Katapat ng C is small c, and opposite A is small a. Okay. Alright, so, of course, obviously, given yung A, which is 10, and then B and C are not given. Okay, so our job right now is to solve for everything. Okay? So, ano yung mga pwede nating steps? So, may tatlo tayong option. Okay? So, use any of the three. You first, the fact that if we have angles A, B, and C, we studied before that the sum of all the angles is equal to 180 degrees. So, meaning, kung meron ka ng dalawang angle, pwede mong gamitin yung formula na to para makuha mo yung pangatlo. Okay? Alright? So, you can just use this kapag you already have two given angles. So, katulad nito, meron ka ng 60, you also have 90, and we know na ang sum nitong tatlong to ay 180. So, alam na agad natin that B is equal to 30. Okay? So madali lang to kapag given na yung dalawang angle. So, So that's the first option. Now, the second option is, of course, the Pythagorean theorem. So, when do we use the Pythagorean theorem? Kapag naman given na yung isang side, given na yung dalawang sides, tas may nawawala na lang na isang side, you can use the Pythagorean theorem. This time, we still cannot use it kasi isa lang yung given, right? Pero later, maybe, kapag nakuha na natin either of the two, baka pwede na natin siyang gamitin. Okay? Alright. Now, ano yung pangatlo? So, pangatlo, we can use sine or cosine. Kahit ano, whichever you like. So, I'll explain later kung bakit. So, I'll just get this thing here. Para malapit. Okay. So, here, I'll just delete the tangent kasi, as I've said earlier, you can just use sine and cosine for this topic. Okay, so we can just choose between sine or cosine kung anong mas bet nyo. Okay, ayan. Alright, so these are the steps. So, ibig sabihin may tatlo tayong step. We still don't know kung ano yung arrangement. So, hindi ko sinasabing ito lagi yung first or ito or ito. Depende sa kalagayan ng given. Okay? So, for example, you look at the given first, and you see, can I use this? If you can, edi better. Okay? So, a plus b plus c is equal to 180. So, a plus b plus c is equal to 180. But we already know a, which is 60. B is just b. And c is equal to 90. Equals 80. And therefore, p is equal to 180. And therefore, b is equal to 30. Okay? So, we already have 30 degrees. So, that's the first. So, that's the first thing that we solved. Okay? Now, what's next? So, sabi ko kanina, of course, we cannot use this anymore, yung first step, kasi na-solve na natin lahat ng angles. So, let's try the second one. The second one is the Pythagorean theorem. You can use it if you already have two given sides. So, in this example, isa pa lang. So, hindi ka makakasolve kapag isa lang given. Remember, if you want to solve, lahat itong formula na to, tiga-tatlong variables. Ito may a, b, c. Ito may a, small b, small c. Ito ring formulang pangatlo, may tatlo rin yan. Ito ay angle, opposite side, hypotenuse. Tatlo rin. Angle, adjacent side, hypotenuse. Okay? So, the thing is, hindi ka makakapag-solve kapag isa lang dun sa tatlo yung given. You should have at least two para isa na lang yung missing or isa na lang yung unknown and you'll be able to solve it. Okay? Now, so wala na tayong option kundi gamitin yung third. So, how do you use the third? So, dalawa lang yan. Either you want sine or you want cosine. Pero, since meron na tayo lahat angle, you can just pick which angle you like. So, for example, ako gusto ko ng 60 yung gagamitin kong angle. Okay? So, kung 60 yung angle ko, meaning, ito, ang opposite. Tapos, ito yung adjacent. Okay? So, if 60 is my angle, then 10 will be my opposite side, and B will be my adjacent side. And of course, C naman, lagi naman siyang hypotenuse. Hindi naman nababago. Okay? So, what's the difference? Pag ito naman yung pinili kong angle, yung B, yung 30, pwede naman eh. Pag ito yung kinuha kong angle, then my opposite side will be this one na. Ito na yung magiging opposite, ito na yung magiging adjacent. Okay? So, yung paglalagay ng opposite at saka adjacent, nakadepende kung ano yung angle na pinili mo. Alright? So, kalimutan na muna natin yung 30. So, pumili na tayo ng angle which is 60. So, yan na yun. Diyan na tayo magpo-focus. Okay? Since we choose 60, alamin natin ang kasunod na step, alin dito sa dalawang formula yung gagamitin ko. So, meron ka ng angle. So, meron ka na ilalagay dito. Meron ka na ilalagay dito. Okay? So, how will you know if I'm going to use sine or cosine? So, for you to decide, just remember na makakapag-solve ka lang kapag may dalawa kang given. Okay? So, meron ka ng isang given, which is 60. Tapos, kailangan mo pa ng isang given. Alright? Ngayon, opposite, hypotenuse, at adjacent lang yung sides mo. Kapag pinili mo yung, for example, cosine, ang magiging formula mo ay cosine 60 equals adjacent, which is B over hypotenuse. So, ang given lang, 60. Parehas walang value yung adjacent at hypotenuse. So, walang mangyayari. Wala kang masasolve. Okay? So, titingnan mo, you need two values. So, if your angle is 60, you have to choose the one with the value, which is 10. And 10 is the opposite side. So, if you look for that formula, you will choose sine. Kasi sine yung gagamitin yung angle at gagamitin yung opposite. So, para pag nag-solve ka, hypotenuse lang yung missing. At given yung dalawang parts. And you'll be able to solve it. Okay? So, let's do it. So, let's just plug in sine 60. Is equal to opposite side ng 60 is this one, which is 10 over hypotenuse is C. So, how do you solve it? Syempre, you had algebra naman na before. So, if you've had algebra before, you know na we can just cross multiply. So, you'll have C times sine 60 is equal to 10. And then, dividing both sides by 60, you have C is equal to 10 divided by sine 60. Sorry. Okay. And of course, using your calculator, you can just try to solve for 10 divided by sine 60. So, ano ba sine 60 again? Wait lang. I think that's square root of 3 over 2. So that's square root of 3, sorry, over 2. Or, pwede naman tayong mag-decimal. Ay, sorry pala. Wait lang. Ano pala yun? Square root of 3 over 2 yung 60. Okay. Pero yung pala ay yan. Yung pala ay 10 divided by yan, 10 divided by square root of 3 over 2, which is equal to 20 divided by the square root of 3. Tama ba? So that will be 11.55. Double check ko lang. Okay, so that's 11.55. So C is 11.55. So meron na tayong second value na na-solve, which is C. Now, last step. So again, balikan natin yung tatlo. Nagamit na natin yung first, nagamit na natin yung last. So the third one is the Pythagorean theorem. We can already use this because we already have two given sides. Okay, so using the Pythagorean theorem, we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So substitute natin yung a which is 10. So we have b squared is equal to 11.55 squared is 133.33 minus 100 kasi 10 squared is 100. We have b squared is equal to and to get b, we just have to get the square root of 33.33. And that's 5.77. Therefore, our b is 5.77. So in this example, we have solved the 3. So yung tatlong missing, we were able to solve. And that class is the main goal of this topic. So ito lang gagawin nyo ng paulit-ulit. Depende na lang kung ano yung mga given. Okay? So before I end the class, I will give you another example. Okay, so ito yung solution with explanation. So 30 yung nakuha. Check lang natin makamali. And then 10 over sine 60. So 11.55 is correct. Dito naman, ang ginamit niya ay tangent. Pero 5.77 pa rin yung makuha. Kasi nga, it really depends. Hindi siya gumamit ng Pythagorean theorem. Ginamit niya ulit yung itong part na to. 2 beses niya itong ginamit. Which is okay. Depende kung saan kayo comfortable. Alright? So, I won't mind if you use this or the Pythagorean theorem. Okay? Para lang sa akin kasi, kapag meron akong dalawang sides, madali nang gamitin yung Pythagorean kasi formula na lang siya. Okay? Hindi na ako magdedesisyon ng angle, opposite, adjacent, whatever. Okay? So, yun. So, that's the first. Pero, whatever you do, kahit ano yung mga choices nyo, hindi yan magbabago, class. The correct answer will always be the correct answer. Di siya mag-change. Okay? So, copy ko lang to sa baba for the next example. Okay. Para hindi ko na siya, para kita pa rin natin. So, we'll have one more example and then you can try the other examples by yourself for practice. Ba yan? OA naman sa layo. Okay. 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 So, again, the first step is to write the given values and identify the unknowns. So, we have A, B, C, okay, and then here we have small a, small b, small c. Ay, meron pala ako i-add sa steps class. Lagay lang natin. I will add, the first step is to label your triangle. So, lagyan nyo na siya ng A, B, C, A, B, C, para hindi kayo malito. Okay? So, alam natin that this is always C, right? And, ayan, naka-label na siyang A. Pwede naman niya. Lagay pa rin natin. Para red. And of course, this is B. For the sides, opposite C is small c. Huwag nyo naman ang pansin nito. Tsaka ito, mga to. Opposite B is small b. And opposite A is small a. Okay? So, para madali kayong mag-fill up dito ng values. So, yung A, we don't have a value for A. B is 45 degrees. Here, 45. And C is always 90. For the sides, we don't have A, we don't have C, but we have B is equal to 3. So, ito yan. Okay? So, again, parang yung kanina, meron na tayong B and C. So, we can always just use the first step. A plus B plus C equals 180. So, we have A. Diretso na natin. Alam niyo na may algebra dito, di ba? Minus B. Minus 90. So, we have 180 minus 45 minus 90 is 45. Okay. So, we have 45 degrees here. Okay. Alright. So, what's the second step? The second step is to choose which angle I'm going to use. Okay? So, halimbawa, gusto ko yung A kasi bago ko lang siyang kuha. So, I'm going to use A, for example. Kunwari ito. A. So, kung A yung pinili ko, tapos ang given ay, sorry, kung A yung pinili ko, then ito yung magiging opposite Ay, wait. Baguhin natin. Sorry. Para iba dun sa kanina. So, it's different than the first example. Kasi yung first example, ito rin yung opposite eh. So, this time, let's choose B. Para naman, okay. So, let's choose B. And if you want B for your angle, then this one will be the opposite side. Sorry. And this is the adjacent side. And of course, this is the hypotenuse. Okay? Now, if you chose B, tapos given yung 3 lang yung given na side, so kailangan piliin mong formula yung may opposite. Okay? So, we will choose sine again. So, we have sine theta, may value na pala, sine 45 equals opposite, which is 3, divided by the hypotenuse is C, kasi wala pang value. And again, by cross multiplication, we have C times sine 45 is equal to 3. And then dividing both sides by sine 45, we have C is equal to 3 divided by sine 45 degrees. Okay. Now, solving for C, we just have to press it on our calculators. So we have 3 divided by sine 45 is 4.24. So we already have the value for C, which is 4.24. Okay. Now, to find A, finally, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. Pero, pakita ko lang sa inyo kung paano gagamitin yung hindi Pythagorean theorem. Kasi sa totoo, pwede naman. So, pakita ko parehas. So, of course, mas madali yung Pythagorean theorem, di ba? So, I'll show you both para rin kita nyo. So, squared. So, 4.24 squared is 17.98 minus 9. That's 8.98. And A is the square root of that, which is 2.996, or we can just round it to 3. Or just 3. Okay? Well, it makes sense naman. Kasi parang kung parehas yung angle niya, then definitely parehas din yung length ng opposite sides nila. Right? Okay. So, this is the first option. That's the first. So, second option, papakita ko lang to just so kung comfortable kayo dito sa ganitong way, pwede. Okay? Pero pag comfortable kayo sa Pythagorean theorem, edi better kasi mas madali yun. Okay? Alright. So, now, kunwari wala pa tayong 3. Okay? And we want to find A. So, again, pipili ka ng angle. Given na naman lahat ng angle, so pwede natin piliin kahit ano, except 90. Okay? So, A or B lang. So, di ba, ang hinahanap natin ay A. Nawawala. So, kung nawawala A, kailangan kasali siya sa formula. If you choose A, angle A, magiging opposite yung A. Right? Again, if you choose A, magiging opposite to. So, gagamitin mo sign, kasi yung sign yung may opposite. Pero pag ang ginamit mong angle ay B, yung A mo magiging adjacent. Gagamitin mo yung cosine. Okay? So, kunwari I want B, kasi lagi lang tayong sign. So, magiging cosine 60 is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is A. Kasi ang goal natin, kailangan kasali yung A. Kasi nga, A yung hinahanap natin eh. Hindi pwedeng walang A sa formula. Okay? Over hypotenuse is C. Pero nasolve na naman natin yung C. So, meron na siyang value. Okay? And then again, cross multiplication, you will have 4.24. Sorry. 4.24 times cosine 60. Ay, sorry. 45 pala, guys. Sorry po. Okay. Cosine 45 equals A. So, hindi na natin kailangan mag-divide both sides kasi nandito na mag-solo yung A. Kaya lang tayo nag-divide both sides by sine 45 kasi kadikit pa siya ng C. Ay, C yung hinahanap natin. Okay? So, ito, solo na siya. So, i-calculator na lang natin yung 4.24 times cosine 45 is 2.998, which is also 3. Okay, so whichever method you use, you will still get the same answer for ABC, for ABC. Okay. Pero if I were you, I'll follow the 3 steps and these 3 options. Kapag dalawa na yung angle, you use A. Kapag dalawa na yung sides, you can use the Pythagorean theorem B. And kapag wala pa, okay, then you can use either of the 2 formulas, sine or cosine. Pwede rin naman yung tangent, pero it's easier kasi yung konti lang yung pinagpipilian. Tama, di ba? Ang goal naman dito is that you'll be able to solve for the right triangle. When we mean solve, the goal is for you to complete this. If you complete this correctly, then tapos na yun. Okay? Alright, so we still have, check muna natin kung tama. So, 45, 45, tsaka 3 at 4.24. So, tama. 4.24. Okay. So, sabi dito, we did not need to use trigonometric ratios to find x. We could use the fact that our triangle has 2 angles that are equal. Okay, so sinasabi dito, since parehas naman na 45 yung angle na nakuha natin, sure tayo na equal din tong dalawa. So, kung alam natin 3 yung B, then sure tayo na 3 din yung A. Okay? So, yun yung argument. Okay? Pero syempre, hindi naman yun laging ganun yung case. So, mas okay pa rin na makita nyo kung paano siya sinosolve manually. Okay? So, So what you're going to do is to practice, practice example 3, example 4, and example 5. And your homework is to answer them ng shortcut. When I mean shortcut, you'll answer them in your own method kung paano ko siya tinuro today. Pares lang naman kami ng sinabi, ano lang siya, detailed. So you will rewrite the solution on your own. Kahit walang explanation, it's okay. I just want you to write it na kayo talaga yung gumawa. Hindi niyo siya tiningnan dito sa module. Okay? So you'll submit that until Friday. And then I'll discuss the last topic. Alright? So, yung last topic, ito pa rin. Kaya lang worded problems na. So, kapag nagets nyo naman yung word problems, then madali nang mag-solve kung alam nyo na tong topic na to. Alright? So, if you have questions, you can always message me in Google Classroom or send me an email. And yeah, you can view this video as many times as you like para mas clear. Alright, so thank you very much for your time and have a nice day.